I'm being divisive right now because I want to win. I know how to win. That's what I have to do. Ultimately, if I do win, I'm going to be a great unifier, George. I will be a great unifier for the country. The country right now is terribly divided by a president that doesn't know how to lead, and he's a very divisive person. I will be a great unifier. You will be surprised to see that, but you will see that.
All right, joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Kristol, editor of the Weekly Standard, ABC News contributor. And by the way, folks, the Weekly Standard, congratulations to Bill, is celebrating its 20th anniversary. And I know there's a special limited time special offer that we'll get to in a second. If you go to weeklystandard.com, I'll tell you right now, you get a free American flag and take back Washington pins. It's a great offer. It's weeklystandard.com. Bill, congratulations, sir.
Hey, thanks, Steve. It's been 20 years, and time flies when you're having fun.
It does, and it's a testament to your success and who you are in the organization. So congratulations. And I will ask you more about the Weekly Standard in a second. But let me ask you about Donald Trump. He says he's being divisive because he wants to win. Does that make sense to you?
Well, look, dividing on issues, on principles, on visions for America is perfectly legitimate. That's what elections are about. Criticizing Ben Carson for his religious
That's what
views,
I was going to ask you, yeah.
No, that's creepy, I think, and that is, you know, I gather, I didn't even know Ben Carson's a Seventh-day Adventist. I think that's incidentally been accepted by the mainstream of American Protestantism and American evangelicals for 60 years. Billy Graham has included Seventh-day Adventists in his crusades, and et cetera. So it's not even going to work, I think, this attempt to demonize that particular Protestant sect, but really, is that what we're now into? I mean, and who is Donald Trump, honestly, to be talking about other people's religious beliefs?
Yeah, well, all right. He's going to have to answer for that, certainly, see if that hurts him. Nothing hurts him the way, you know, nothing, right?
Well,
Nothing's hurt him.
Except Carson's now beaten him
in three polls.
Three different Iowa polls,
yeah.
And by about 10 points. It tells me that in Iowa, which I think, you know, you can say it's just one state, it's more evangelical, it's got more homeschoolers and so forth, but historically, Iowa's been kind of a precursor of what happens nationally because there's so much more focus there, there's so much more campaigning there. If something catches on there, it often does, you know, forecast what's going to happen, at least in some of the other states. And I've thought for about a month, you and I have talked about this, that Carson could become stronger than Trump. I mean, Carson could have more longevity as an outsider candidate, as a different kind of candidate from the elected officials than Trump, where you get the feeling with Trump it's kind of a, you know, fantastic joyride, but it kind of comes to an end at some point. Well, I'm curious to see what happens with that.
Well, let me ask you, let's listen to what a guy named Jeb Bush had to say over the weekend. This is 70.
If this election is about how we're going to fight to get nothing done, then I don't want any part of it. I don't want to be elected president to sit around and see gridlock just become so dominant that people literally are in decline in their lives. That is not my motivation. I got a lot of really cool things that I could do other than sit around being miserable, listening to people demonize me and me feeling compelled to demonize them. That is a joke. Elect Trump if you want that.
What does that mean to you?
I think it's kind of sad. I mean, you know, as if he were elected, he would be forced to demonize people. What's he talking about? And I guess he doesn't like campaigning. He doesn't like the election. He doesn't like having to deal with voters. I think that most revealing statement is there are a lot of other things I could do that would be really cool. I mean, it's not a good idea generally to tell voters you don't like mixing and mingling with them, and that's basically, or appealing to them, or having to explain to them why they should vote for you. It's usually not a good idea for politicians to show contempt for voters, and I really wonder now if the Bush campaign is getting close to its last legs.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. If he falters, does Rubio then become, I know you picked Rubio and Fiorina as the ticket recently, does Rubio then become the establishment candidate?
He could, but what we've seen, it's amazing this cycle, Steve. I mean, I was looking at this up the other day. Over the course of the less than 2 years, Christie was a front runner after he won on November 13. Remember, November of 2013, that impressive re-election victory in New Jersey. Rand Paul was briefly a front runner when there was all that buzz about the new libertarian moment in late 2014. Jeb Bush was, of course, a front runner at the beginning of this year, and Scott Walker was a front runner when he got in the race. We've gone through 4 front runners, and now none of them is above. One of them's out of the race, and the others are below, 7% or so. It's very dangerous having everyone agree that it's the next guy in line, and I think the reason is the voters aren't like looking at who's next in line, who fills the establishment lane, all these things the insiders talk about. They want someone to explain to them why they should vote for him. And I think Rubio and Cruz, and to some degree Fiorina, have a big opportunity, beginning with the debate Wednesday night, to tell them they should ignore the Trump-Bush sparring or the Trump-Carson fighting, for that matter. And those three in particular, I think, Rubio, Cruz, and Fiorina, have a chance to just say, look, these guys are arguing with each other. Here's my vision for America. They really have a moment here where they could rise up a little bit above the fray.
All right, let me ask you, is Sheldon Adelson, from what you're hearing, is he going to back Rubio?
I haven't heard anything other than what I've seen in print, which is it looks apparently he likes Rubio a lot. Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you this about your great Weekly Standard. Talk about what you've accomplished over the 20 years and what you hope to accomplish going forward.
I think we put out a good magazine mostly. We've obviously, I hope we've advanced some conservative ideas about everything from foreign policy to domestic policy to the culture. Very proud of the back of the book reviews, the longer essays. This issue, for example, Fred Barnes has a pessimistic piece about the Republicans. I have an optimistic editorial about the Republicans, but those are both good short pieces, I think. But I think, frankly, the stuff that people will really remember, the stuff that will have a longer impact, is Heather McDonald on what's happening on campus and the kind of phony rape scare, which is really a terrible thing that people are perpetrating. Very good piece by the law professor Randy Barnett and Jay Cost on whether we should get rid partially of the filibuster, especially for appropriations bills. I think that's being taken seriously by Republican senators, I gather, that argument. So I feel like I hope we put out a good magazine. I hope people enjoy it. I hope we can help a Republican win, honestly, in 2016 with a good conservative agenda and a forward-looking agenda, and that would really help the country.
WeeklyStandard.com. I know you watched the Mets game the other day, and not the debate. Who's going to win the World Series?
I'm going to watch the Mets game Wednesday night and not the debate, and that's even tougher because I actually care about the Republican debate.
Got to go, Bill, got to go.
Of course the Mets are going to win. How can you even ask that question?
WeeklyStandard.com. We're coming back, folks.